Hi folks, this is Jake. Hope you're okay today. We're going to look at another position, is nihilism, and I'll just get the quotation. Again, Pope John Paul II encyclical letter, and he writes on nihilism. Philosophy of nothingness. Its adherents claim that the search is an end in itself without any hope or possibility of ever attaining the goal of truth. In the nihilist interpretation, life is no more than an occasion for sensation and experience in which the embryo has pride of place. Nihilism is at the root of the widespread mentality which claims that a definite commitment should no longer be made because everything is fleeting and provisional. Indeed, still more dramatically, in the maelstrom of data and facts in which we live and in which we seem to comprise the very fabric of life, many people wonder whether it will make sense to ask about meaning. The array of theories which vie to give an answer, and the different ways of viewing and of interpreting the world and human life, serve only to aggravate this radical doubt, which can only easily lead to skepticism, indifference, or to various forms of nihilism. According to some of them, the time of certainties is irrevocably past, and the human being must now learn to live in a horizon of total absence of meaning, where everything is provisional and ephemeral. In their destructive critique of every attitude, several authors have failed to make crucial distinctions and have called into question the certitude of faith. I think the point that one of the things that's come to my mind over the last couple of days in studying Immanuel Kant and reading around him is it really hit me like a ton of bricks. The need to push the skeptics to their own logical conclusion, and their own logical conclusion to their own skepticism is nihilism. That is, that there is no meaning to life. Now, the skeptic might put a personal spin on that and say, well, there is a personal, private meaning to life, and they might hide behind subjectivism and say that there is no meaning to, I can't access objectively the outer world on a grand scale, so I can't really know whether there is a meaning or not. But once the Gordian knot has cut between reality and our subjective experience, once we give up that there is an objective reality, we're in the sea of relativism, and we're in the sea of meaninglessness, and reason loses its purpose. So all we have to do in any conversation with any atheist or skeptic, when they start attacking the Bible, when they start saying things about the Old Testament, when they start saying things about the Bible and all the rest, all you've got to do is the skeptic, every atheist is on a cliff edge. That's where they are philosophically. They are on a cliff edge, and all you've got to do is just push them and nudge them a little bit to see on the edge of the cliff what lies below, which is a massive drop to death. And the massive drop is the logical conclusion of their skepticism is nihilism. Now, every atheist will fight tooth and nail to deny that, but it's so easy to press them and push them in that direction, to show them their logical conclusion. So basically, when they start criticizing the Bible and attacking the Bible, and they come up with all these, they say they understand presuppositional apologetics, which they don't, and they understand how to critique Christianity, which they don't. I can categorically tell you that the main atheist on YouTube, I can say this with authority because I'm qualified in this area, in theology, but I can categorically tell you that the main atheists who are doing apologetics on YouTube do not understand Christianity and are perpetually strawmanning Christianity. I'll just give you two examples. John McDropout, I love the guy, we've had a wonderful discussion, but in preparation for the Kantian debate and discussion, I went on his show to listen to them talk about Cornelius Van Til. And there was Ozzy and there was other atheists on there, bright people, very smart people, very, very smart, very, very bright. Yet they were talking about a Christian philosopher called Cornelius Van Til, and discussion about whether his education was pretty good or not. And there was a general sense that, yeah, he probably had a decent education, but we probably question whether he actually was rigorous enough in critiquing his own position. And it was never made clear in that discussion that Cornelius Van Til did not just go to Princeton Theological Seminary, which that's the impression they gave, but he also went to Princeton University. And at Princeton University it was renowned for its scholarship, and at the philosophy department there were some top philosophers, and Van Til became an expert in Hegel. Now in that conversation, which I listened to for an hour, the atheist completely misunderstood the educational background of a major Christian philosopher and presented it to the YouTube community in a way that was misrepresenting him. These same people had another discussion which I listened to on their show. Atheist, Ozzy and John McDropout and others. Again, bright people, really smart, and they were talking about the Apostle Paul and the resurrection, and the argument was that generally that there was no argument from the Apostle Paul concerning anything about Christianity, nothing evidential. And they went on about this for some time, and I really was shocked that these highly intelligent atheists, one of them's become quite well known now, misrepresenting Christianity. You only have to read Romans chapter 1 that Paul is doing apologetics. You only have to read Acts chapter 17 and Paul's doing apologetics, defending the faith. So for the atheists to present Paul as not giving any arguments for the resurrection or defending the Christian faith is ridiculous, really. And that's an example of misrepresentation. So what I'm saying is that, you know, when these skeptics are attacking the Christian faith, they don't understand what they're doing. They really don't understand Christianity. They don't understand Christian theology. They think they do, but they really don't, and they misrepresent Christianity. They strawman Christianity. And anybody who wants to really have formal academic debates with them and get into deep scholarship, generally speaking, they will ignore them. It's highly unusual. I mean, I've had two decent discussions recently with John McDropout, which I'm pleased about, and one or two others, global atheists. But these are very, very rare occasions, and these are unusually brave skeptics, because most skeptics will not engage with people of any academic background in their fields, because they don't want you to see that Christians can hold their own in philosophical debate or whatever debate or discussion. A lot of atheists are frightened that the public might see that evangelicals can hold their own in debates about philosophy or whatever, and they don't like that. But from time to time, one or two atheists break out of the camp and say, no, it's not fair. These people want to talk about philosophy. We have to engage with them, and it's not fair to sideline them, and it's not doing our cause any good, because by doing that, by sidelining these people and maligning them and stuff like that. So the point is, when the skeptics begins to press upon you and ask you questions about the Bible and about Jesus and about that, by all means answer them as best you can. But the atheists are not, I've noticed this, the atheists and the skeptics are very, very reticent to answer tough questions themselves. And they often put it back to the Christian with the presuppositionalists, that the presuppositionalists aren't willing to answer questions. But that's a straw man, because that's a small minority of presuppositionalists. Satan Brugengate and people who follow him are a small minority within the presuppositional history of presuppositionalism, in the history of presuppositional scholarship. The more bigger hitters are John Frame and people like that. So when you go on atheist shows and they say, "Oh, Satan Brugengate is done, we've dealt with his arguments," and others say, "Oh, we do need to deal with him because many are following him," and all the rest of it, and then they put across to you that they've answered presuppositionalism, and they know they haven't. They know they haven't. They know that there's a bigger academic field out there concerning presuppositionalism, that there's some big heavyweight hitters, academic hitters in that camp. The other thing as well is there are different schools of thought in epistemology, Christian epistemology. There is the Plantinga school, there is the William Lane Craig school, there is the Van Til school, there is the so what I'm saying is, so they'll attack the Bible and they'll think they've come to know what you're on about, and what I'm saying is Christianity is so rich and so big, just in the area of epistemology, they just don't know. And what I would advocate to you is, if you get to talk to a skeptic, get to talk to an atheist, take some of their position and then say, "Okay, this is what you believe, yeah?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And take their position to its logical conclusion. You say, "Alright, you're a skeptic, so why aren't you a nihilist? Why, if you're a skeptic, there is no meaning to life generally, yeah? And so why aren't you in the nihilist camp? Why have you stopped? Why have you pulled back from that? And you watch the atheists scream and squirm. You will see them scream and squirm and kick up a fuss, and they'll do it like this. "Oh, what do you mean by nihilism? What do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? Or what do you mean by grand narrative about the universe? We can't know the world out there on its grand scale." And you will see them scream and scream and scream, kicking and kicking, trying to fight against the logical implication of their own position. And the logic of their own position is nihilism. Ultimately, the logic of skepticism is nihilism. But they will not face up to that, and they will try everything they can to get out of it. They will come up with the most sophisticated answers, the most sophisticated replies, but ultimately it's all meaningless. Ultimately, the logic of it all from the skeptical position is it's absolutely all meaningless. Now they will reply, "Well, you're in the same position as us, you have the same sensory perception and all the rest of it," but the problem is that our presuppositions make sense of our being in this world and being able to reason and to give reason a purpose, whereas the skeptical position does not have the presuppositions that match, that is able or capable of providing a way out of nihilism. So those are my thoughts. Push the skeptic to the logical conclusion of their own position. That's all you have to do. And if they're intellectually honest, it will pull them up. If they're not intellectually honest, they will just try and get out of it, throw questions at you, start arguing about semantics of words. They just won't face the reality of it. But you get them to face the reality of their own position, and it should hit them like a ton of bricks that their position is futile. Alright, thank you for listening and take care.